This is Nick Melionis, and you're watching MooFaces TV's Tech Buzz segment. I'm here with Eren, the co-founder and CEO of Udemy. Would you mind describing Udemy and also discussing this vision?
Okay, so Udemy is simply a marketplace where any expert in the world can go and teach an online course. So the idea is simply, there are millions of experts in the world that you would want to learn from. It may be an author that you have been reading, it may be your college professor, it may be an industry experience, but we wanted to create a platform where all these experts could connect with the people who are interested in taking courses from them.
Gotcha. And so right now, obviously, this Udemy's had tremendous success, but back when you started it, this vision was something that people couldn't really, it was something that was really a game changer and was something that was kind of outlandish, so to speak. Could you describe what lets you capture this vision and how people initially responded to it?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So I actually recently sent an email to all of our readers telling this story, but simply this kind of came from my personal life experience. I was born in Turkey, and I was born in a small village where my primary school was just a one-room schoolhouse. So it was like one teacher trying to teach 5 different grades in the same time. So you could imagine the quality of education you can access there. So from my early childhood, I was always very interested and talented in mathematics, but there was no resource, nothing that I can access. So, and what happened is, as I grew up, one day my parents bought me a computer and internet access for a few months. And then the moment I started going online, I started seeing all these resources about mathematics, all these forums where people were discussing different problems. So I immediately figured out that this could be a channel which I could use to self-educate myself. Right? And long story short, I took all those online math classes and forums and those kind of stuff. And then I won a gold medal in National Math Olympics and a silver medal in International Math Olympics, completely self-taught. And as I went to go to college, I studied computer science, mathematics, but I was always super interested in solving the problem of having people not having access to a high-quality online education resource. So we started thinking about this problem, and we could be partnering with a few universities to teach courses or maybe a few companies, but we thought that for this thing to become really sustainable and scalable, we would need to take advantage of the millions of experts around the world. It just couldn't be 10 teachers that we hire, right? So we decided to go with a marketplace approach where any expert can teach. So this was a pretty counterintuitive idea back then, because whenever we talk about education or learning, people always question the accreditation, the credibility of the person. So people were saying that nobody would be taking or paying for a course that's not from a college professor. But as we get into the market, launch the product, what we proved is, as long as you have a high quality course from a person who could be an industry expert at the subject, who doesn't have to become a college professor. But people are actually interested in taking that course. So it took us a long time to really come to the Silicon Valley and become successful, but from the early days, our vision was always the same. All these experts around the world, is an amazing resource to teach the world, to teach the rest of the world, and we had to take advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think a gold medal to kick things off is certainly some good market validation that you're onto something. Yeah. So you said so I know you said in terms of the backstory of how this all started. Could you describe the first product you guys released? What was that?
So we first launched a product for the Udemy idea around, I think, 7 years ago in Turkey, and we were working on this product where anybody would be teaching, any expert could teach the rest of the world. But the product was slightly different because it was more focused on live education. Gotcha. So people would go online and use their webcams and have a whiteboard, PowerPoint, and video sharing tools to teach a class. But back then there weren't enough people who were online all the time, and the live education wasn't scaling as much as an on-demand education system. So we quickly decided to move away from a live education platform to a more on-demand focused education platform. But we were in Turkey, and it wasn't. The live education piece wasn't the only problem. It was just too early, and we weren't in the correct location to start this. If you want to start a game changer company like this, you need a lot of influential people who are in the right location. And so we decided to move to Silicon Valley and give the company another shot here.
Yeah, so this is actually an incredible story, so we'd love to talk about this. So move to Silicon Valley, what were your next steps from there?
Yeah, so I think when we first moved here, there are a lot of visa restrictions in the US, so it's not a very easy place to come and stay. So I started working in another startup called SpeedDate as one of their first engineers. At that point, we just shut down the company in Turkey, and I focused my energy on SpeedDate for a few years just to make it a really successful company, because I knew that I want to start a company here, and I knew that if I came to another startup, if I can make that successful, then it would be a lot of very helpful for my own startup.
Right.
So I worked there, and I brought a lot of my friends from Turkey who are very good engineers. I helped the company hire a lot of people. And then SpeedDate got a pretty good success. So in 3 years, we got 20 million users. We became fairly profitable, raised a lot of money. And I got a decent network up here. But meanwhile, we were always still super obsessed about the Udemy idea. I mean, it failed once in Turkey, but we knew that this still had potential. So we started trying to raise some money so that we could sponsor our own visa, so we could work full-time on the Udemy idea, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to work full-time there.
All right.
So we went and talked to several investors. We went to an incubator called Founder Institute, but what happened is all the investors just turned us down.
Oh,
we got maybe 50 or 60 investors meetings which all said no.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. So it was, just imagine the pressure when you shut down your company in Turkey, move to the other part of the world, and you still get no's from super smart people in Silicon Valley, right? And these were nobody is saying us no. These were really smart, successful people who are saying this won't work, right? But at that point, most people would have just given up, and I think a reasonable person would definitely give up. But we weren't reasonable, so we just insisted on it, and we thought that it was people were missing a part of this business. So we decided to launch the company in the US with our own resources. So we started working at nights again and launched the product in the US. And after 3 months, we got several thousand users and a few hundred instructors who were interested in creating courses. They weren't really creating awesome courses yet, but there was some interest. And we took that and sent it to investors, showed it to investors, and this time one of the investors said yes, and all of a sudden we had 11 angel investors who put a total of $1 million of seed financing in the company. So that was kind of the turning point. So after that, we were able to go full-time. We hired a few people, and as the company launched and became more successful, we first raised $3 million, and then more recently we raised a Series B of $12 million. So right now the company has $60 million in the bank, and we have 500,000 users who are taking courses from 5,000 instructors. And the company is growing pretty well. We are doubling every 4 months in terms of revenue. So, now I think I can easily say that everything is going well.
Yeah, that's some incredible perseverance right there, and it's one of those things where it just goes to show you that these overnight successes aren't an overnight success. It's something that it's a constant push.
Yes.
That's great. So what would you say is the most surprising thing you've learned since founding this company?
So I think people don't realize how hard this thing is gonna be.
Yeah.
Even though when you're successful, right? You can be the most successful person in the company. Right now, since we raised all this money and we are growing well, everybody thinks that now Udemy is a good company, now I can comfortably sleep at nights. Right, yeah. But that's totally not the case. There are always a lot of challenges. like whatever you do, there's a lot more to accomplish, and there are a lot more concerns to be aware of. So now I started understanding that probably Zuckerberg still cannot sleep easily. There's still a lot of challenges. Like I assume he still thinks he's like half successful. Yeah. So that was, I think, a pretty interesting feeling that I learned here.
Yeah. What was the last class you took?
I think right now I'm taking a digital photography class.
Great.
Yeah. So I took a few of the programming classes, but I already had a computer science background. So I'm using Udemy to kind of diversify my skills right now.
Yeah.
And actually the previous class I took was an X introduction course on Udemy.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a course designed for foreign professionals in the Silicon Valley, like so that they can improve their accents to become more successful in professional life.
That's great.
So yeah, all these like diverse skills that you can actually acquire through Udemy is actually fairly useful. Yeah.
So what's next?
What's next? What do I want to learn next? I think I will be looking at more management classes and hiring classes. And so like I had always a passion around videography. So when I was in college, I always wanted to shoot a like full movie, and my goal was to shoot a full-length movie before I turned 30.
Yeah.
So I took some classes in the college, and I did like a few things there, but maybe like soon I will have more time and resources to actually pursue this. So before doing that, I should kind of get equipped around videography and.
Oh yeah. That's great. So what's next for Udemy now?
So, like recently we launched our iPad application and our iPhone application is coming, so we are becoming a more cross-platform product. So learning is not going to be only in your computer, it will be your computer, at home, at work. Like even when you're in a Caltrain, like even if you don't have any internet access, you can download your lectures to your iPad and like use that time to improve yourself.
Oh, nice.
And I think more importantly, recently we launched a campaign called Teach 2013. So last year, a lot of different instructors have been doing very successful things online, and online education has been on the rise.